Hey guys, Varnesh here. Today I got a Vaulted Glass walkthrough for you from Destiny. This is probably one of the best groups that I've ever done Vaulted Glass with. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at the video, just give you some tips and tricks as we go through. We had a few issues in the Gorgon maze, so I'll probably just chop out some time in there. That way you're not sitting there watching us die left and right, die again. So here it is. This is Vaulted Glass. This is regular. This is not hard mode. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll try and answer them as best as I can. And then I'll just tell you how we do it and what we think is the best way to do Vaulted Glass.
Oh, good old Venus. Alright, here we go. It's important that when you start this that you designate where your teammates are going to go. You have bottom, middle, upper. You should have at least 2 people designated to each plate to watch for Praetorians. They go down faster with more than one person standing at a plate. So I always take center. I don't know. I like center, hopping back and forth, watching. Oh, missed that jump. Nothing new there. Nice thing with center is you can run back and forth and help. You can help upper and lower out quite a bit with their Praetorians as well. Now, when I did this one, I was under the impression when I first started doing Vaulted Glass that you had to stay. Someone had to stay on the plate to build the spire, but that's actually not the case. You just have to keep the Praetorians from getting onto the plate. So once you've been in the plate, oh, see, my bad. It's them from coming in the plate. Watch out, the plate deactivates because the Praetorian comes in, and now the spire will start deconstructing based on how much you had built. And now that he's gone, we're back in the plate. It's going to rise again. But you don't actually have to stay in the plate. You can actually get out and move around once it's built up like this. You can actually get out and move around and help your team out. I got another Praetorian here. You gotta watch these guys. It's we didn't do too good on the plates this time around. We've gotten better with it since we started doing Vaulted Glass more. And that's part of that thinking that I had to stay on the plate. You know, once you're able to get out and move around, you can actually build that spire pretty quickly with a good group of people. And you can see out in the distance there the spire being built. As the plates stay activated, that will just continue. You know, I've done it recently. We haven't had a single Praetorian access a plate, and you know, it can be built in about less than 5 minutes easily.
Guardian down.
Especially when you do center up here, you need to make sure that you keep an eye on where the red is on your radar. Yeah, see, I'm sitting in this plate because I was under the assumption that I had to stay in the plate. Now, if I had thought that I didn't have to stay, if I had known better, I would have gone out and gotten that res. But because I'm an idiot, or was an idiot, that Praetorian came up and Hulk smashed this plate again. So it took a while for us to get this down. But this was our first run with this core group of guys that we have now. And there we have the spire being built off in the distance. Yeah, we got a slow start because as being an idiot, letting Praetorians get out the plate. We've gotten better since then. We've gotten it without, last couple times we haven't had a single Praetorian touch the plates. But that also helps as you level up, you'll get better with that. Now you'll see that I'm using my Voidwalker for this part with the Praetorians. It's kind of helpful to have the Void Grenades to kind of take down their shields as they're coming at you, and then you can just peck away at them with your weapon. And then you can see our spire's almost finished there. And you'll hear it, and you'll get the notification that it's done, and good job. You know, you can get your whole team up here to the top to the gate for it to open up. Just for first part here, you run in, you grab the chest that's down here. Make sure you wait for your entire team to get here. That way everyone gets the loot before the chest despawns. You don't want to be the guy that opens up the chest with no one there. I never want to be usually whoever our fire team leader is the one opening the chest. I never want to be the guy that's grabbing the chest right away. So we got our good old Ascendant materials there. It's pretty standard fare. It's what I've been getting quite often from every single chest in the Vault of Glass. The only two pieces of gear I've gotten across two characters is a Warlock Bond, Warlock boots, and Warlock gloves from about 4 runs on Vault of Glass with my Warlock and 2 runs on my Hunter. So we're making our way down the steps here to the Templar. Not a bad not a bad fight. It's as long as you have a group that understands what they're doing and they're communicating properly, you'll never have an issue with this part. It's basically just shoot, kill, pew, 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 win with this guy. Piece of cake. You shouldn't have any issues. Of course, we have one of our guys that's just being a slowpoke. There's always one person that wants to be slow, and you just gotta wait. That's a conflux there. You want to make sure that you're keeping enemies away from that conflux, because too many enemies get in that conflux, you're gonna wipe that game over. But other than that, you shouldn't have any issue killing guys and making sure that you're not dying. I mean, it's just common sense. Just kill guys before they get to the conflux. Now, you just got to keep an eye on your mini map and make sure that you know where you're at. Over here on the left, where I tend to keep, you just have to be careful because you actually think that they're right on top of you and they're actually coming from below you. So you just got to understand, have some situational awareness of what's going on. And you got to make sure that you stay out of the center here too. You can come down here, you can kill these guys, but if you get too far into the center over here, the Templar can and will shoot at you and kill you. So see, you shoot at me right now because I walked by. Just be careful about that. Don't just keep moving. Don't stay in one spot for very long at all. You see here, I forgot to change back to my Sunsinger class from outside. Inside, I use Sunsinger with the self-revive because the longer that somebody's down, that's the less damage is being done, the less guys are being killed. Just want to make sure you're constantly, raid utility. Just make sure that you're up all the time. This yellow or this white area pool down here will come in very nice. Once these fanatics right here start spawning, you see they're yellow. They're going to leave green pools. Our goblins and hobgoblins were glitched there for a second. We don't know how that happened. But you see here this green pool. If you stand in there, you will get marked. And when the Templar does his ritual of negation, he will kill you. So just make sure that, number one, just stay out of the green pools of death. And number two, if you get into the green pools of death, just run in there, cleanse yourself. Don't wait till the last second thinking you can, kill a couple more guys and then do it. That's the quickest way to die and to screw your team over. Just make sure, the easiest way to do this is to just make sure that you're paying attention. Have good situational awareness. You'll note that I start falling back a little bit here. We got some harpies that show up and they tend to go towards the back of the map. We get in a little bit of trouble here. The fanatics come too far up into the center. We tend to try and keep them on the stairs. So at this point, we made it to the Confluxes, which is the first half of this, first quarter really of this fight. I talked about the Confluxes earlier, how you want to make sure that you keep the Vex from getting into them. There's one in the back, so you really want to make sure that you're making sure that they don't get to that Conflux, because if too many get to that Conflux, you're going to wipe your team and you're going to have issues. I think the number is 2. I can't tell you because we've never hit it, so I'm not exactly sure. You just got to make sure that you're just staying aware of everything that's going on, killing guys as they show up. Keep an eye on your ammo, because it has happened to me quite often where I just get too into what's going on and I don't go to pick up ammo. You don't want to get stuck in a situation where you don't have any ammo and you can't help your team out and there's a Vex sitting right at the Conflux about ready to go in. Partway through this, you'll see that we have Minotaurs starting to spawn. They are kind of a pain for one person to deal with, but as long as you have 2 people, we tend to go 2 left, 2 mid, 2 right, and the 2 people on the mid kind of strafe left and right as needed. But the Minotaurs aren't really an issue as long as you're paying attention and you just call out the Minotaurs as they show up, really. It's all part of the situational awareness. You can see here I'm pretty much out of ammo. The other option that you have is to make sure that you bring ammo synthesis from the gunsmith, and that would pretty much would have solved this problem. Instead, I'm just going around with my shoddy. You see that I wasn't paying attention, and a Vex sacrificed itself on the left Conflux. And then we had one on the right Conflux. So right now we have 1 in each Conflux. Like I said, I think the number is 2, but I'm unsure. But the Confluxes are built at this point. And they'll disappear here in a little bit.
Down.
You can see that Zafan died again. We call him Clutch Master Pro. He tends to just stick to right side by himself. You can see the Confluxes are gone now. But we call Zafan Clutch Master Pro because, he stick to a whole side himself and take everything out while everyone else has to have 2 people with him. It's important to be near the revives and make sure that you're able to revive people as they show up. You can see there he actually got marked for negation as soon as we revived him because we weren't killing them fast enough. This is probably my favorite spot right here, up on this block. You can stay away from the pools of crap, and then when we get up here, I'll explain a little bit better once we get to that point. But this spot helps out quite a bit with the rest of the raid. Now we have the 3 confluxes instead of just 2, so yeah, it takes a lot of coordination with the team to make sure that everyone understands where the guys are at and who you have to kill. You see here, I'm going to go grab some ammo. I almost ran out again. This part of the fight, it's just same thing over and over again. You see I kind of dropped the ball here on reviving Zafan. I should have dropped back to pick him up, but didn't, so he had to get picked up by somebody else. Part of that is just making sure that you're communicating with your team on what's happening. You'll just see it's pretty much the same thing over and over again. It happens when you're doing it. It just happens so quick, and you're paying such close attention that it doesn't really seem as long when you watch it secondhand. So just remember, if you're going to be doing Vault to Glass, I think we finished in just over an hour, which is better than the 10 hours it took the world's first raid clear. So you can see our confluxes are built, so they're not going to try and continue to sacrifice here. But that doesn't mean that they're going to stop spawning. They'll keep coming in. The fight is not over. At this part, there's just a lot of dudes coming up mid, so make sure you have your team prepared to just unload on these guys. You see I use Radiance, and I'm just going to blow out with all my grenades here. This is a really good spot for Sunsinger Warlocks to use Radiance, because you can wreck face with the number of lunatics that are coming up through the center. Okay, and that's the end of that phase. You made it through pretty easily here. Didn't have very many issues. At this point, you want to listen and pay attention. This will show you where the oracles are going to spawn. The oracles are very important. You have to make sure that you kill the oracles as quickly as possible, because if you miss one, you're going to get marked for negation, and the Templar can and will destroy you. So make sure to see here that they flash brightly when they're destroyed, just like that. And you just want to make sure that the oracles are your #1 priority. If there are other Vex around, forget about the other Vex. Try and make sure at least one person is shooting the oracles, and that you're shooting them as soon as they spawn. You make sure your audio is up, you're listening for the sound cues. I tend to let others focus on the oracles. As you'll see here in a second, hobgoblins will spawn on the left and right sides. That's why I like this spot up here, and I tend to focus most of my time on these hobgoblins. If you're not going to have one person focusing on the hobgoblins all the time, make sure that you're not standing still too much, that you are strafing left and right as much as possible. Otherwise, the hobgoblins can get you pretty easily. You'll see over here, there's one way up in the back that spawns, but we don't worry about him because we tend to not go back up there. But there are 3 hobgoblins that spawn on this left side, and 3 that we were worried about on the right side. So I like this little spot right here on the left where I can stay up here. I can see about 4 oracles from this spot, and then I can also take care of these 3 hobgoblins that continuously spawn through this portion of the fight. There aren't as many goblins that spawn during the oracle phase, but the hobgoblins are a little bit more deadly than the goblins that are spawning down here. You'll notice that we do have minotaurs as well. They can be kind of a pain if you have an oracle up, but again, you want to try and focus on these oracles. If you miss one, it can wipe your whole team pretty quickly. You can see the Templar is preparing his ritual negation. If you're marked, make sure you're getting in there, but you shouldn't have an issue. If you're paying attention, you shouldn't have an issue getting rid of these oracles. I know I have one of the guys on our team that's over on the right. He likes to quick scope. He calls it quick scoping. I believe it when I see it. But he prefers to snipe the hobgoblins on his side. You see here I'm hearing the oracles and I'm looking for them. You see there's one here in the middle. If my aim didn't suck, I could have gotten it. There's one behind me that I almost missed. Luckily someone was paying better attention than I was, but I did drop the ball on these hobgoblins and they killed someone. So you're just going to make sure that you're continuously moving, or you have somebody clearing out those hobgoblins as they spawn. Zephon likes to get in the action, can you tell? He's, I think he died the most in the raid. But, you know, like I said, there's always one person that's a bullet sponge. Usually it's me. Like I said, I tend to just take it easy back here. The best part about the oracles is that they are very loud if you have your audio levels up properly, and you shouldn't be missing them very often. See, I just turned away. I should have been shooting at that oracle that was right there, but you notice I just ran out of ammo, so now I have to go searching for more ammo. So make sure that you're continuously looking, paying attention to your ammo levels. The hobgoblins and the oracles will spawn quicker throughout the longer the fight goes on. So you just want to make sure you're paying attention to everything that's happening. Really, that's you know, I played WoW, World of Warcraft for several years, and I raided with some of the top guilds on the servers that I played on for a year or so while I was still in school. And raids are all about your utility and making sure that you know what's happening. If you didn't know what was going on here, you need to make sure that you're asking questions. We had somebody in our group that wasn't exactly sure. So if you don't know what exactly you should be doing, say on the Atheon fight, maybe you've been asked to do the portal group in the Atheon fight. If you don't know exactly what's going on, make sure you're asking questions. Make sure that you know what your job in the raid group is, because then you're going to keep your group from wiping. and the entire the entire game is meant to be fun. And if you're just constantly dying and wiping the raid, it's not fun anymore. I've had pickup groups with one of my other characters, and we've wiped a lot and never ended up finishing Atheon. It sucks. So just make sure that you're asking questions if you feel like you're doing something wrong. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No one's gonna get mad at you. And that brings me to another point. Make sure you guys have chat. If we didn't have chat for this, we would have had a lot of issues. I've heard people saying they can do it, but it just makes life a lot easier when you have chat. So we play on PS4, but we tend to PS4 still has some issues with NAT type in party chat, so we tend to use the Destiny chat when it comes to raids. But you can do it either way. If you're not having NAT types, you can use the party chat feature of the PlayStation 4. You can see his hobgoblins start spawning much quicker as we get towards the end of this fight. As do the goblins and minotaurs. You see, I basically do 180s this whole fight, just going around, making sure that everything's taken care of. We got a minotaur come over here, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Oracle phase. You see here, I got the gloves of the Hezen Lords, as that's one of 2 actual loot pieces I've gotten from the Vault of Glass so far. So you can actually loot the raid 4 different times. There is 1, the Oracle phase of this fight, then 2, the Templar of this fight. 3rd is the Gatekeeper phase of the Atheon fight, and 4th is the Atheon himself. So that was the first loot. You don't actually get a loot screen, it just pops up. So at this point we are talking over our approach and what we want to do, whether or not we want to fight the Templar vanilla, or how we want to accomplish taking him down. Get It Going King, who was our raid leader, decided we want to fight him from over here where the hobgoblins spawn. You see, we're gonna get over there. A little dance party before we go. I can never. I can do this jump on my warlock. I struggle with this jump on my hunter, but I have my glide on my warlock, and then I always use triple jump on my hunter. The Titan glide goes pretty far too, so you never have to worry about that one. So what we do is we hang out over here, and we're gonna get set up, have a little dance party while we wait. You hang out over here, and basically you bring the shield over here, and you just cleanse everybody as the oracles mark you for negation. And you can lower the Templar shield from here as well, and then shoot them from here. It's really kind of a cheap way to do the fight, but it's really the easiest way to do the fight. You can see here that we had someone that struggled a little bit with the jump coming over here. So you can see I'm checking out my gloves here. They have all strength on them, which isn't bad. I find myself punching things a lot in strikes and raids, and plus it's a Sun Singer, I get a shield from that, so it's actually not too terrible. I don't know how I'd feel about that in Crucible. Again, that's what I'm talking about. Make sure you have your right jumps equipped, and make sure you know how to jump with the class that you have. Another thing about doing this fight over here is, since you're not going to be killing a bunch of ads, make sure that you stop by the gunsmith and pick up some ammo synthesis. It's going to help you out quite a bit during this whole process. Some people say that this portion takes longer than killing the Templar vanilla, but this is the way that our group wanted to do it, so this is the way that we do it. And there's that triple jump. He had to switch over his jump, and all set. So what's going to happen is we're going to go get the shield, and then the shield bearer is going to come over here and we're just going to hang out over here, kill the Templar from here. You can see that we're explaining this whole process to people that haven't done it before. You know, make sure you take the time to explain fights to people that haven't done them before. You know, as I was saying earlier, that's going to help you out more than a lot of other things can. And you know, you have the dance party that happens. You can hear the audio cue. King grab the shield, so Templar is activated. So he's just going to glide his way over here. You can see that the Templar has a big shield. The shield that King is holding, that it's called the Relic, and you can read up on the lore in the Grimoire cards on the Relic. But you can see here, he's going to be able to cleanse us from here. And the super on that shield will also take out the Templar's shield. So what he'll do is he'll pop out around the corner and he'll shoot down the Templar. Since I come out here, you know, shoots down the Templar and then you fire off. You see this red thing that pops up? That's the shield. You have to shoot out of the shield, otherwise you're going to wipe your team. So just make sure that you don't fire rockets out of that shield until it's, you know, it's completely down. Until the team is shot out of it. Otherwise, you're going to blow yourself up and someone will make fun of you. You can see here I'm switching to a sniper rifle. I had you know, shotgun equipped. Should have done that before this started, but I didn't think about it. So that's what I get for being dumb, pretty much. And here we go again. It's basically a lot of this. You actually can, we started doing it where there's a couple ledges up above where I'm crouched right now. You can actually go up there, you can have two people stand up there and they'll still be close enough to get cleansed by the bubble. But it kind of keeps this area right here from being so crowded all the time. And you can sometimes avoid the red shield of death as well. If you were doing this vanilla, you'd have to make sure that you were killing the oracles as they popped up as well. And you can also keep the Templar from teleporting. You can kind of keep him in one spot. You know, this is the way that we prefer to do the fight. You know, you may prefer to do it a different way, but there are a lot of people that actually do the fight this way. You have to also be careful when the Templar is shooting at you. His splash damage is pretty deadly, so just be careful not to die. King actually, if you hold the shield up like this, it actually acts as a shield. It cleanses, but also acts as a shield. You just have to be careful not to completely use up the energy so close to an oracle marking you, otherwise you might wipe the raid. Yeah, and this is a lot of, you know, rinse and repeat. You can see that we're actually doing pretty good on the Templar's health. And like I said, watch out for that splash damage. Make sure nobody dies from that. Get out of the way if you need to. It's better to just get out of the way instead of having to die and, you know, have somebody spend the time trying to revive you while they're trying to shoot at the Templar. And if you're still marked for negation, make sure that you're saying something so you can be cleansed. It kind of suck if you forgot to say anything. You can see DCB here, he's actually glitched, and he actually can't move. He's having trouble moving because some sort of glitch that happened. So I think what he's going to decide to do is just going to decide to push himself off. That way he can get unmarked. Because the oracles are really bright when you're marked for negation like that. So a car just died right there because of the splash damage. Like I said, make sure you're getting out of the way. Make sure you try not to die. And don't be like DCB here. Don't get glitched, marked. Because we made fun of him. Look at him trying to go there, trying to run away to his uttermost death. And maybe, nope, yep, there he goes. But, he's self-revived, and now he's not glitched anymore and he can move around, so. You can see here we're actually really close to taking down the Templar. So impromptu dance party on the platform. Sadly, I was the only one. Back here, you don't really have to worry about the oracles. It's really not worth wasting your ammo on them because you can get cleansed anyways. And you can see here he practically has no health left, and he went to our least favorite spot of all, in the back corner. He can go there. I haven't seen him do it very often, but whoever's got the shield needs to hop up on the top of this platform, get into the far back corner. You can see here I'm a dummy, thought I could take out an oracle, wasted my ammo. But you have to get up on the platform, up in the far corner, to shoot his shield down. King hadn't done it before, so we had to sit here, we had to explain to him, where he had to go to get him. So that's why I'm shooting at the oracles at this point. You can also get it from right there, and you can see that you can actually get up on the top of the platform to shoot him. But it's best just to wait until he comes back. Also the whole rinse and repeat. If the Templar does enrage, if he reaches his enrage timer, oracles will just constantly spawn and spawn and spawn. You can still kill him if he's enraged, but your shield bearer is going to have to work overtime making sure that people are cleansed. You can see here we did not get the Spirit Bloom chest this time. We decided to just go through. None of us have gotten anything special out of the Spirit Bloom chest other than a green helm and a Spirit Bloom scent. So I opted just to go straight forward into the rest of the Gorgon maze. Now what I'm going to do, I'll actually cut some of this out. We had quite a few cheap deaths in here. But I'll just let the Gorgon maze play out. If you need to study our paths, that's fine. But it's just about, paying attention and stay together as a group. Careful not to use your abilities, as the Gorgons will definitely take note of that. So if you're staying together as a group and, you're communicating, you're not really going to have an issue. But I'll chop this up and we'll get it going right up into the last part of this. And make sure you're just not an idiot like me, because I'll let you watch it there on what not to do, like using up all of your glide, like that. So I've done here is I've chopped it up, and I'm not going to bother you with the first two chests. There's one to the left, one to the right. They're pretty easy to get. So now I'll just this is us coming back after several deaths of just being stupid. Stay as a group, you know, follow the leader, get it going. King as our leader. Stay together and don't get caught. You can pretty much, as soon as you spawn in, if you, as a group, you can pretty much run straight to the cave, to the jumping puzzle without an issue. And it's down here on the right. Just like that. Everyone has their own way of tackling the jumping puzzle. You don't really need to do the whole jumping puzzle. It doesn't make any sense to actually do the whole thing. This was actually my first time doing the jumping puzzle, so I was a little unsure as to what exactly. You know, everyone just took off right away. So, like the idiot I am, I have to wait for, you know, the first platform to show back up, as I sit here and watch everyone else die.
Guardian down.
And, you know, if you have that one person in your group that just can't do it, you know, you can pull a Varnesh out of your playbook and pull up the Rocky theme song on your phone and play it for them. Works every time. As a warlock, I can pretty much glide over there. There are better. I found better ways of gliding without taking so much damage. As a blade dancer, I've also blade danced across that entire gap without a problem. Coming up here is probably just the hardest part of this jumping puzzle. That right there. It will take you out like you wouldn't believe. It looks like you can walk past it, but it actually decides. The wall just like secretly jumps out and pushes you, and then you resurrect and die again, and everyone makes fun of you. But it's okay, you know. We've had many a good laugh on this part of the raid, so not an issue at all. At this point, I just kind of take a leap of faith and don't quite make it. Like I said, since this time, I've actually found better ways of doing this. I'm playing this through so you can kind of see the struggles and understand that not everyone's going to make the jumping puzzle right away. This is easily the hardest part of the entire raid. You know, we have more issues with this than anything else in the raid. So just take it nice and easy. You know, pull out the Rocky theme song for people that are struggling. You know.
Guardian down.
And again, I don't quite make it.
Guardian down.
It's actually intended for you to pretty much jump the entire way over there, but they gave us this nice little ledge to walk across, so we're not going to do that. I've gotten a lot better at this part, jumping in and gliding. Once you get used to it, it's not that hard. Just make sure you're comfortable with your class's jumps, and it shouldn't really be an issue for you. So what I'm gonna do here is what I'll do is I'll chop it up to the point to where our entire team was here, and we'll get going on the Atheon fight. What you can see here is now that our entire team's here, we're gonna head on down through here. Your entire fire team has to be present for the door to open and for the jumping puzzle to be activated. So if someone's still stuck in the Gorgon maze, the jumping puzzle won't activate until everyone is there. So now the doors are open, we come in here, and that's the Gatekeeper right there. He is the first phase, the first loot phase of the Atheon fight. And it's pretty simple. What you have to do is just kill all the ads. We're going to go through the portals. We're going to grab the 2 relics shields, come back out, defend some Conflux, and then we'll get to Atheon. You have to watch out for the hobgoblins that are here. They can one-shot you if you're not careful and paying attention. So just keep moving, pay attention to what's going on. Help a fellow guardian out by taking out the hobgoblins that aren't near you if you have time and ammo to do so. And here's our good old friend, the Gatekeeper. He actually doesn't take a lot of hits. I wasn't designated to work on the Gatekeeper. I was told to clear out hobgoblins for this part. So I'm going to let the rest of my fire team focus down the Gatekeeper. We had some issues with we're still having issues with some of the game audio in the Vaulted Glass. We haven't seen it correct itself. We're having more issues on the Templar fight with game audio lately than we are anything else. So now everyone's just going to focus on the Gatekeeper, and he's down. So that's 1 of 3 times you actually have to kill the Gatekeeper. So what's going to happen next is we're going to have a team go into the portals to grab the relic shield. I've been called to be part of that team, so I'm gonna hop over here so our group can go in. Since doing this, we've actually started doing the Mars map first, because if you do the Mars map first, you actually don't have to worry about as many hobgoblins, and it just makes life a little bit easier on you. But you want to focus down the Gatekeeper like that. And once the Gatekeeper's dead, you can be marked by the Void. So you want to make sure you grab the shield as quickly as possible. Here's the hobgoblins that I'm talking about. You want to make sure that you take them out quickly so you don't have issues. But make sure you grab this shield quickly, whoever the shield person is going to be. That way you can get cleansed. You can see here it takes a while for it to charge. So you want to just stay close to whoever has a shield so you can get cleansed.
Guardian down.
We actually had 2 people die outside because of the Praetorian. You want to be careful not to you want to have everyone come through, and when you're coming out of the time gates, make sure that you're going in a single file line, because if 2 people try to go out at the same time or in at the same time, 1 person will actually get left inside of the time gate. And if it's while you're doing these relic shields, then you are stuck in there and there's no way you're getting out. When you come out of the time gate, you want to focus on center here. We're going to have a Conflux that appears and a bunch of Minotaurs that are spawning, coming to try and pass into those Conflux. So you see the Conflux is being built, and our shield bearer is over here. Once we know that this area is taken care of, we're going to activate this other time gate so that we can go in and get the other half of the relic for the actual relic for the Atheon phase of this fight. We're at the point now to where we're actually doing this without the shield bearer coming into the second portal with us, because we're able to kill the Gatekeeper fast enough to grab the shield. You can actually enter the portal on either side, it doesn't really matter. You can see you're marked by the void right away, so if you do this side first, the Gatekeeper is really easy to kill in the Venus map, and you can pretty much grab the second shield and get it charged up for the cleanse pretty quickly. You can see here we forgot to kill some oracles outside of the time gates. So if you're outside, you want to make sure that when the oracles pop up that you're killing them as quickly as possible. If you have to designate one individual to kill those oracles outside. But during this part on the Gatekeeper, even if you have one of the relic shields already, you have to do the whole thing over. So since I've already explained this once, we're just going to sit back until we get to the second relic shield.
Guardian down. Guardian down.
You can see here 2 people tried to go through at the same time, so I got left outside. Just make sure that you go in a single file line and that 2 people aren't trying to go through at the same time, and you'll avoid that issue pretty much every time if you follow that rule.
Guardian down. Guardian down. Guardian down.
And you got a case of idiot 101 right there. Make sure that you're not so close to the Gatekeeper. Or you could just be a self-reviving warlock that doesn't have an issue with dying. Although we did have another one of our team die. As long as it's not the person with the shield that can cleanse everyone, it shouldn't really be an issue. You just gotta wait.
Guardian down.
And we're gonna go grab the second part of the relic shield right here and find our way out of the portal. We have an issue here where the Vex overtook the plate on the outside, and so the portal wasn't open when we got done. You can see now that the portal is opening. Make sure you cleanse. You don't want to be caught, with your pants down, not cleansed.
Guardian down.
You want to make sure that after this you find your way center. You still have a Conflux up that needs protecting. You can see we just had a Vex there sacrifice himself to the Conflux. And I went and fell off the world. So luckily I could self-revive to take out some of these Praetorians. I think that's the best part about being a Sunsinger Warlock, honestly. That self-revive is pretty awesome for when you mess up like I did. What you have here is you actually have now 2 groups of Praetorians that are coming out, and they're all trying to get to the center Conflux to sacrifice to it. Too many sacrifice, like any other Conflux in the Vault of Glass, you will wipe your grade. And that's the end of the Gatekeeper phase. You can see my beautiful 3 Ascendant Shards that I got. Nothing new there. At this point, Atheon's going to come into play here. Whoever your group is that's going to be going into the time gates, make sure they're all the way back here against the back wall. You don't want too many extra people back here. Otherwise, your group that's going into the time gates may not actually end up in the time gates like you want. So when you get into these time gates, you want to make sure you're calling out to your team where you're at so they know which door to open. What I do is I toss a couple grenades down there, and then I help with oracles. The person with the shield will run down there and take everything else out. The Mars map is actually the easiest of the 2. The Venus map has a Minotaur that's kind of a pain, and the Turkish. So I guess it's just personal preference. My personal preference is the Mars over Venus. Make sure, if you're like me, that you're not going in or going through the gate with 2 people in there. You can actually see that I can't see a thing because I didn't make it out in time. So I'm actually going to die inside the gate because I'm moving around. I have no idea, where I'm at. I just finally made it through the gate. I think, maybe, I don't know. And look at that, I'm through. But I thought I was through, and I'm not. And you'll see here we we actually have 5 people inside of here right now, which leaves 1 person outside to cover all the ads. And I never actually died, which is awesome. I don't know. Somehow we pulled this off, and it was absolutely beautiful. We had 5 people inside one of the portals, and we all survived. So, that's just making sure that your group's getting back, and when your group's going through those portals, you have to make sure that you're going through in a single file line and that 2 people aren't going through at once. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. You can see we went up there to get cleansed. We didn't have time to go shoot at Atheon because we took way too long with the number of people that we had in there. So we're going back to go through the portal. But you can actually shoot it. When you come out of these portals, you actually do increase damage to Atheon. So you want to make sure when you come out of these portals, we have a different way of doing it. And you'll see that in a second. But that your team is shooting Atheon after they're done taking out ads. Make sure that you kill the oracles, make sure they explode like you just saw. Almost missed one. And if you miss one, it'll wipe your entire group. So you have to be really careful about that. So what we do here is we come out, we're going to get cleansed, and we're going to go to the center over here with our shield bearer, and we're actually going to shoot at Atheon because we do increased damage. You can see here that I'm actually throwing out a bunch of grenades. I've learned that by shooting him, I actually do more damage shooting him at his weak point than I do tossing a bunch of grenades at him. So you have to figure out what works best for the gear that you have. You see here that we got pretty lucky with our portal maps. Like I said, the Mars one for us is the easiest to do. Those hobgoblins die very quickly. I have to make sure that you're moving as a group while you're in here so you can get cleansed. If one person, lags behind, that person can die, and you don't want to have to spend the time waiting around for someone when you could be outside shooting Atheon. So we get cleansed, and then we hop down here to the center for Atheon. And you can actually see on the bottom left-hand corner how much time you have left for Time's Vengeance, which is why you do extra damage to Atheon. And, of course, be careful not to die. And you'll see here, this is the Venus map. You see the Minotaur right there. They're kind of a pain in the butt. But as long as you have a good group that's communicating, you're going to know what's going on, and if the person with the shield needs help taking out that Minotaur or not. If you try and solo the Minotaur without any help from somebody with a gun, it's harder to do, not impossible, but it is harder to, solo kill the Minotaur with the shield only. Yeah, and when we come out of these portals, we always go to the center. You can see here that shield protects us. And this is about the time that I figured out that I was doing way more damage with my Suros directly into his weak point, rather than, mass tossing grenades at him.
Guardian down.
As long as you have a good group of guys or gals going through the portals, the oracles really aren't all that big of a problem. You can see that I actually just called out that Enrage is near. So when that happens, you usually have one, maybe if you're lucky, two more times through the portals before he hits his Enrage timer. And it gets really gross if he hits that Enrage timer. you can actually see that we're really not going to have to worry about it at all, because Atheon died after that notice came up that Enrage is near. So that's it. That's the Vaulted Glass. You can see that I got the ship. At this point, I had done it twice and hadn't gotten the Chatterwhite yet. But since I have 2 of each that I've kept of the Chatterwhite and the ship, once I get my other character started and going, he'll have one as well. He'll have the 3rd set of them. So that's the raid. Some people will get better with that RNG on the gear than others. But it is what it is. It's fun. It's a good group of people to hang out and have fun with, and beat quote unquote Destiny's hardest challenge in the game. Here soon we're going to move on to hard mode. We haven't gotten past the Oracle phase at the Templar yet, so we're still working on that. We want everyone to be above 29 before we attempt that one again. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you on the flip side.